Here are the video solutions for Pearson Edexcel Functional Skills Maths Level 2. This is section A, which is the non-calculator section from past paper 10. Okay, so let's go to question number 1. Write 50 as a fraction of 125. Okay, that's nice and easy. It's just 50 on the top and 125 on the bottom. However, this is not in its simplest form. So this fraction can be simplified. So we need to look at the number on the top and the number on the bottom and think, what can we divide both of them by? Well, we can divide both numbers by 5. They're both in the 5 times table. 50 divided by 5 is 10, and 125 divided by 5, maybe need to do a little bus stop here. 1 divided by 5 is 0, move the 1 along. 12 divided by 5 is 2, with a remainder of 2. 25 divided by 5 is 5, so 10 over 25. However, this fraction can still be simplified, which means there was a number bigger than 5 that goes into 50 and 125. It doesn't really matter that we didn't find it, or maybe you did, but we can divide these two by 5 again. 10 divided by 5 is 2, 25 divided by 5 is 5, so the answer is 2/5. Part B, 18.17 plus 4.398. So the important thing here, people could get this wrong because people might write the 4 underneath the 1. The important thing is get the decimal points in line, and then everything else will be in line. So the 4 will be under the 8, the 3 will be under the 1, the 7 will be above the 9, and the 8 will just be hanging loose on the side there. And if you don't like the fact that there's a space here, then just stick in a 0. That's absolutely fine. Now in the answer box, let's put a decimal point in line, and let's just add up from the right hand side. 0 plus 8 is 8, 7 plus 9 is 16, carry the 1, 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 1 is 5, 8 plus 4 is 12, carry the 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, so the answer is 22.568. Okay, so what we have is 5 3/4, take away 2 5/8. So I'm going to turn both of these into improper fractions. So how many quarters is 5 3/4? How many eighths is 2 5/8? So the number of quarters is going to be 5 times by 4 plus 3. 5 4s are 20 plus 3 is 23. And how many eighths is 2 5/8? So it's 2 times 8 plus 5. 2 eighths is 16 plus 5 is 21. Now we can't do any subtracting just yet because the numbers on the bottom are not the same, but 23 over 4, I can turn that into eighths. 23 over 4 is the same as double that number over 8, because to go from 4 to 8 we're doubling, so for an equivalent fraction we'll double the top as well, so 46 eighths. So the question is now 46 over 8 take away 21 over 8, 46 take away 21, 46 take 20 is 26, take away another one is 25, so 25 over 8. So now we've got an answer which is an improper fraction. We should probably turn that back into a mixed number. Remember, this line means divide. What is 25 divided by 8? How many 8s go into 25? Well, it goes 3 times. 3 8s are 24, so there is a remainder of 1, so that is 1/8 remaining. So 3 and 1/8. Quite a challenging question because of all the converting from mixed to improper and then improper back into mixed again. Okay, so question number 3. Hannah wants to buy a new washing machine. She's going to use one of these two offers. So offer A, nice and easy. We just need to do 24 lots of 30. So what I would do here is just work out, well, what's 24 multiplied by 3, and then stick a 0 on the end. So 4 3s are 12, carry the 1, 2 3s are 6 plus 1 is 7, so that's going to be £720. So this is offer A. Now offer B is a bit harder. We want to work out 22% of £954 and then subtract that from 954. So I'm going to work out 10%. That's going to be this amount divided by 10, so that's £95.40. So therefore 20% is going to be double that. So double 40 is 80. 95 plus another 95, or 90 plus 90 is 180. 5 plus 5 is 10, so 180 plus 10 is 190. You might want to write that as a column just to be safe there. Now 2% is 10 times less than 20%. So all I need to do is divide this by 2. and that is £19.08. So originally this 22% seemed like quite a horrible thing to calculate, but it's just doubling a 10% and then dividing the 20% by 10 to get the 2%. So therefore 22% is going to be these two added together. 80 plus 8 is 88, and 190 plus 19 is going to be £209.88. So this is going to be the discount. So we just need to subtract this from 954. So the final calculation, 954 minus 209.88. You probably want to turn 954 into £954.0. So decimal point in line. So straight away we've got a bit of a hassle here because 0 minus 8 can't be done. So this 4 needs to become a 3. This will become a 10, then a 9, so that this can become a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2, 9 minus 8 is 1, 3 minus 9 again, 5 becomes 4, 3 becomes 13, 13 minus 9 is 4, 4 minus 0 is 4, 9 minus 2 is 7. So offer B is £744.12. So we're just looking at this figure here and this figure here. So which offer should Hannah use? It should therefore be offer A, as it costs less. Okay, question number 4. So what we need to do here is work out the area of this shape here, which is a trapezium. Now the formula for the area of a trapezium is 1/2 of A plus B, H, where A and B are the parallel sides. So these sides are A and B, these are the parallel ones, and H is the distance between them, which is the 64. So it's going to be 1/2 lots of 100 plus 90 multiplied by 64. Now 100 plus 90 is 190, so it's a half of 190 times 64. Okay, so I could do 190 times 64 and then half it, or I could just half the 64, or I could half the 90 if I wanted, and then that bit's done. So I'm going to half the 64, so that is 32. So now all I need to do is multiply these numbers together. So I'm going to do 32 times by 19, and then just stick a 0. I mustn't forget to stick the 0 on the end. 2 9s are 18, carry 1. 3 9s are 27, plus 1 is 28. Put in a 0 because this is the 1 of 10. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 3 is 3. So 8, 10, carry the 1, 6. And then putting that 0 back in, so that is 6080. So this is the area of this trapezium. So the area is I've already forgotten what the number was, 6080 square metres. Okay, now Jack receives £21 for each square metre, so what we need to do is multiply 6080 by 21. I could have just done 608 times 21 and put a 0 back in at the end, but that doesn't really matter. Okay, starting with a 1, 1 times 0 is 0, 1 8 is 8, 1 0 0, 1 6 is 6. Putting in a 0 again because this is the 2 of 20. 2 zeros are 0, 2 8s are 16, carry 1, 2 zeros are 0, plus the 1 is 1, 2 6s are 12. Add these together, 0, 8, 6, 7, 1, 2. So Jack receives 127,680, and I believe it was 1/7 to charity. Okay, so what does he give to charity? It's this amount here divided by 7. So how many 7s go into 1, 2, 7, 6, 8, 0? 1 divided by 7 is 0, move the 1 across. 12 divided by 7 is 1, with a remainder of 5. 57 divided by 7 is 8, 8 7s are 56, that's a remainder of 1. 16 divided by 7 is 2, 2 7s are 14, that's a remainder of 2. 28 divided by 7 is 4, 0 divided by 7 is 0. So therefore he gives £18,240 to charity. There we go. And that is the end of section A. This is section B, which is the calculator section, and this is from past paper 10. So let's take a look at the first question. Okay, so they're sharing the rent in a ratio of 9:7. So the ratio is Marta to Aki, and it is 9:7. So what fraction of the rent does Marta pay? Well, she will pay 9/16 and Aki will pay 9/16. So where does the 16 come from? it's 9 plus 7 gives you 16. So turning a ratio into fractions is pretty easy, as you can see. So all we need to do is work out 9/16 of 720. So here we're working out a fraction of the total. So to do that, we take our total, we divide it by the number on the bottom, and we multiply by the number on the top. And 720 divided by 16 times by 9 is 405. And what was the original question? It was Martha thinks she will pay less than 405 a month in rent. So is she correct? No, she will pay 405, which is, of course, we can say she'll pay £5 more than £400 if you want. There we go. Question number 2, complete the table for Ben. So we know that this, he starts to record the sales of mobile phones to 50 customers. So these figures need to add up to 50. If we add these up, it's 47. So therefore this missing number here must be 3. The next part, Ben selects at random one of the customers who bought a mini mobile phone. So we're only interested in the minis. So how many were there in total? Well, 5 plus 7 plus 6 comes to 18. And of those 18, how many bought a 128 gig phone? Well, that is 7. So as a fraction, it's simply 7 out of 18. That fraction can't be simplified, so that is the final answer, 7 over 18. Okay, so for this question here, what I'm going to do is, we need to work out the perimeter of this shape here. So we've got 2 meters here, so we're going to have another 2 meters here. So we've got 2 plus 2 plus, we have this semicircular sort of half circumference here, and another one here. So if we just chuck this part here with this part here, what we have is we've got a circle with a diameter of 2.8. And the formula for a circle is pi times the diameter. So the pi is 3.14, the diameter is 2.8. So we've got 2 plus 2 plus 3.1 multiplied by 2.8 is 8.792. So if we add 2 and another 2 to it, we get 12.792. So we know that 1 metre is 3.3 feet. So therefore 12.792 metres is going to be 12.792 lots of 33, and that comes to 42.2136 feet. So she has 40 feet in length of flower garland. Does she have enough? No. She is 2.2136 feet short. Okay, question number 4, is Jake's median time greater than Tia's median time? So what we need to do is work out the median of these values here. So the median is the middle value, but it's only the middle once you put them in order. So let's put them in order lowest first. So we've got 56, 58, 59. Then we have 62, 65, 66. So to find the one in the middle, I'm going to cross one off each end, and I'm going to do the same again until I get one in the middle, or maybe I get 2 in the middle. Here I've got 2 in the middle, and the reason why I've got 2 in the middle is because I've got an even number of values. I've got 6 values. So to work out the median, it's going to be what's halfway between 59 and 62. Well, that's not very obvious. So what you need to do is add together 59 and 62 and then half it. 59 plus 62 is 121. 121 divided by 2 comes to 60.5. So is Jake's median time greater? No, it's less because it's 60.5. Okay, and for part B, show a check of your answer. Well, the final calculation we did was 121 divided by 2 to get 60.5. So if I simply get rid of the divide by 2 and move it over to this other side, it will become times by 2. And is 60.5 times 2, is it 121? Yes, it is. So therefore, 121 divided by 2 is definitely 60.5. Okay, so question number 5. All we need to do here is add in this other student who revised for 12 hours and scored 45. So we've got revision time along the bottom, and we've got the marks up the side. So we want 12 hours. So let's just think about this. So 0, 5, 10. So each 2 boxes is going to be an increase in 1. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so for 12 that would be 10 plus 2 to take us to 11. And so 12 will just be this line here, which is 1 to the left of the slightly thicker line. So we're going up here to 45. 45 is halfway between 40 and 50. So 42, 44, 45 would be this point here, halfway between this line and this line. Obviously, if you've got a very sharp pencil, you might be able to show a slightly more accurate X than me, but that X there will be perfect. Okay, what type of correlation does the scatter diagram show? Okay, so we can generally see a pattern, which is the dots are sort of going diagonally to the right. That means if I were to draw in a line of best fit, a line, well, obviously would be a straighter line than this. We can see this is the line of best fit, which is cutting through the centre-ish of these data points, more or less keeping a similar number above and below the line. And because this line goes up, that is a sign that there is a positive correlation. So we just write here positive. That will do. We don't have to write, probably don't need to write the word correlation. Positive correlation. So what this means is, as this variable here, as we increase the revision time, we're increasing the marks received on the test, which kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, so what percentage of the students who revised for more than 15 hours scored over 70 in the test? Okay, so how many students revised for more than 15 hours? Let's take a look. So more than 15 hours is anyone to the right of this line. So this line is here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's test that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so we've got 11 in total that revised for more than 15 hours, and how many of them scored over 70? So again, we're only interested in this lot here. How many of these got a score that was greater than 70? So how many were above this line? Well, let's just think of it the other way. How many were below the line? Well, 3 were below, so therefore there were 8 above. So 8 out of the 11 scored over 70. So as a percentage, it's top divided by bottom times by 100, and that comes to 72.7272727. So maybe it would be sensible just to round that to 72.7, or maybe even just round it to 73%. Okay, question number 6. So what we need to do is simply, the question is simply increase 400 kilos by 14%. So what we need to do is think about our multiplier for 14%. 14%, the multiplier we would use is 0.14. The decimal equivalent of 14%, this figure here divided by 100. So this is the multiplier you would use if you wanted to calculate 14% of a total. So we could do that. We could multiply 400 by 0.14. That would tell us what 14% is, and then add that on to 400. Or if we want to increase by 14%, we can do this in one hit. Instead of using 0.14, if we add 1 to this figure, we get 1.14. So multiply 400 by 1.14. That takes us directly to the answer, and that is 456 kilos. Okay, question number 7. So what we need to do here is convert 30 miles per hour into kilometres. So what we need to do is go to 30. You need to show this line and show how you're going across here. And we are 1 square short of 50. So here we're going up in 2s. So that is going to be 48 kilometres per hour. And here we're doing the opposite. We're going from kilometres per hour into miles per hour. So we want 64. So 60, 62, 64 is this line here. So we just need to continue across. Obviously, if you use a ruler, it's a bit better than what I'm doing here. And we're getting a nice value here as well, which is always reassuring. And so that is 40 miles per hour. Okay, and for part B, we want to convert 62 litres into gallons. So we know that 1 gallon is 4.546 litres, and we're trying to convert 62. So we just need to ask ourselves, well, how many times greater is 62 than 1.45? In other words, what is 62 divided by 4.546, and that is a fairly horrible value, which is 13.6383634. So what I'm doing is this value here we multiply by, I'll just put 13.6 to turn it into 62 litres, so therefore we need to do the same to this number here, but this number's 1, so just 1 times this number, we'll just leave it as 13.6383634. And if we want 2 decimal places, we're interested in the 3rd decimal place, which is an 8, so that will move the 3 up to a 4, so it's 13.64 gallons, and we're done. Okay, question number 8. This question troubled me for a long time, and I think part of my problem was the fact that we've been told that this guy is building a wall. Now, what I couldn't quite get my head around was the dimensions here, because this wall is 7.9 meters long. Okay, so I'm thinking, okay, here is my wall, and this is 7.9 meters. But then it also talks about it being 8.6 meters in width. Well, if I were to draw a wall, then I would also say that this dimension here is the width as well. So it would seem to me that what's going on here, I can cope with the fact that it's 9 bricks high, that's easy enough, but this wall has got a length, and so if I draw a sort of 3D image, if we call this the length, then it's also got a width which is really well, very wide, and all of this is going to be bricked in, so it's not really a wall, it's more of just a cuboid. It's a very odd wall. It's not very high, it's only 9 bricks high, but it's very wide and it's very long, and it's a solid brick throughout. So I don't think they've really thought this through. I feel like they probably should have got rid of, well, anyway, it doesn't really quite make sense to me because it's not what I understand as a wall. So what I'm going to do here is the brick. Now the easy part is this part here. Amir uses the mode. So which of these is the mode? Well, which value occurs more frequently than any other? It's £1.50. So the mode is £1.50, so that is the cost of a brick. So of this very weird wall, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn 7.9 meters and 8.6 meters into millimeters. So 7.9 meters, times that by 100 to get 790 centimeters, times that by 10 rather, to get millimeters, because it's 10 millimeters in a centimeter. And I'm going to do the same for the 8.6 meters. I'm going to turn it into centimeters. That's 860 centimeters, which is 8,600 millimeters. Okay, so this measurement here, which is, I'm going to call it the length. So I'm going to call this the length, and I'm going to call this the width. Now the height of the brick, kind of irrelevant because we know that we're going to have 9 bricks in height. So what I'm going to do is how many 215s go into, so I'll just label that as L, that was the length, and this is the width. Okay, right, so 7,900 is going to be divided by the 215, and it would make me feel better if I got some nice values here. So 36.74, so I need 36.74 bricks lengthways. Well, we're going to call that 37, because presumably you can't buy 0.74 of a brick. And then I'm going to do 8,600 divided by the other measurement, which is the 65, and that is going to be 132.3, so I'll call that 132.3, so I'll call that 133. Okay, so we need 37 bricks in this direction, we need 133 in this direction, and we need 9 going up. So the total number of bricks is going to be 37 lots of 133 times by 9, and that's going to be times by £1.50 because it's 150 per brick, and that comes to a total of 66433.5, so 50p. And then the strange kind of extra bit, we just need to chuck in another £75. So all I need to do is add £75 to the 66,433.50. Seems a rather arbitrary thing to do at the end after some pretty tricky calculations already. It's almost like they want you to get it wrong because you've forgotten to do that final bit at the end. And the final answer is £66,508.50. There we go. As I say, a bit of a weird question. So there we go. So 66,508.50. Okay, so for question 9, we know that it takes 2 bricklayers 3 hours. Now what we need to remember here is when we have more bricklayers, it's going to take less time. If we have fewer bricklayers, it's going to take more time. So if it takes, we are going from 2 bricklayers to 5 bricklayers. I'll just write 5 brick. So if we've got more bricklayers, as I said, it's going to take less time. Now if it was 4 bricklayers, that would be double the number of bricklayers, so it would take half the time. But how do we get from 2 to 5? Going from 2 to 4 was easy because you double it. So double the 2, half the 3. So for this question, what I would do is work out how long would it take one bricklayer on his own. So that's half the number of bricklayers, so that is being divided by 2. So if we've got half the number of bricklayers, that means it's going to take twice as long. So one bricklayer on his own would take 6 hours. But we don't have one bricklayer, we've got 5 bricklayers. So that is 5 times as many bricklayers, so it would take 5 times less. So I need to divide 6 by 5, and that is 1.2 hours. So the key to that question is to work out how long it would take just one bricklayer on his own. Okay, question number 10a. So this question is just testing our understanding of bid mass. So we've got some brackets. So what we need to do first is work out, well, what is 13.608 over 3.24? And remember that this line here means divide. And 13.604 divided by 3.24 is 4.2. So the question is now, well, what is 4.2 squared? Well, that's simply just 4.2 times 4.2, and the answer is 17.64. Question B, write 3/8 as a decimal, so 3 over 8. Again, the line of a fraction means divide, so type into your calculator 3 divided by 8, and that's how you turn a fraction into a decimal, top divided by bottom, and the answer is 0.375. Question number 11. So before we even need to, there's a lot of words here, but we're using the formula, which is V equals 10dW plus 15AW. And we've been told what V means, so we can work out the volume of the pool provided we know D, which is the depth at the deep end, W, the width of the pool, and A, the depth at the shallow end. Now 10dW means 10 times D times W, so 10 times the depth at the deep end is 2, and the width is 1.2, plus 15 multiplied by A, which is the depth in the A is the depth in the shallow end. 15 times 1.5 times by 12, so that comes to 240 plus 270, and that comes to a grand total of 510 cubic meters. So there are 2 pumps that are getting rid of the water at this rate. So if we combine the 2 pumps together, then we're going to we can work out how much water is being cleared per hour. It's 31.2 plus 27, and that is 58.2 cubic meters per hour. So how long is it going to take to clear 510 cubic meters? Well, how many 58.2s go into 510? What is 510 divided by 58.2? And the answer is 8.7 something something. We only need to say, is it less than 9 hours? So Ben is correct. So Ben is correct. Well, we can just write it down here. Ben is correct. It will take 8.7 hours, which is obviously less than 9 hours. There we go. Okay, on to question number 12. So what we know is that 8 people visited between 1 and 7 times. So here the frequency refers to the number of people who, or number of clients that went to the leisure centre. Worth bearing that in mind. So 8 people went between 1 and 7 times. Now these 8 people might have all gone once, they might all have gone 7 times. So what can we do? We're going to assume that they all went halfway between 1 and 7. Now what's halfway between 1 and 7? Well, just add 7 to 1 and divide by 2. 7 plus 1 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So we're assuming they all went 4 times. These 8 people went 4 times. So therefore the total number of visits would be 4 lots of 8. So 8 times 4, which is 32. So I should make a note that this is the estimated total. And this column here is the frequency times the midpoint. So what we need to do here when we're working at an estimated mean, we need a midpoint column and we need a frequency times the midpoint column. And the reason why we're doing that is if we're trying to work out a mean or an estimated mean number of visits, we want the total number of visits divided by the number of people. So we don't, as I said, we don't know how many times these 8 went, so we're assuming it's halfway between 1 and 4. So 8 lots of 4 gives us the 32. So what we're going to do here is we're going to work out the midpoint for 8 to 14, and again, if you can't do this because the numbers are a bit difficult, just add the starting point and the end point together and divide by 2. 8 plus 14 divided by 2 is 11. 15 plus 21, divide that by 2 is 18. 22 plus 28 divided by 2 is 25. Okay, so 24 times by 11 is 264. 12 18s are 216. And 25 6s are 150. So the total, or the estimated total number of visits of all these clients is these numbers are here added together, and that comes to 662. Okay, so the estimate for the mean is going to be the total, or the estimated total divided by the number of clients. So 662 divided by 50, which is 13.24 visits. Now this is a 16% increase on the mean from July. Okay, so the original, or actually I should say like the July has been increased by 4 to 16%, and it's given us this new value of 13.24. So what's the multiplier for a 16% increase? Well, the multiplier for 16% is 0.16. It's this figure here divided by 100. It's the decimal equivalent of 16%, and for a 16% increase, just add 1 to this figure, it would be 1.16. So the July figure was multiplied by 1.16 to give us this new value of 13.24. Therefore, the July figure would be 13.24 divided by 1.16. So therefore, in July, the mean in July was 11.4137931. Or let's just call that perhaps 11.4. Okay, use a reverse calculation to show a check of your estimated mean. Well, we did 13.24 divided by 1.16 to give us this value of 11.4137931. So move the divide by 1.16 over to the other side, becomes times by 1.16, so 11.4137931 times by 1.16. Is it 13.24? Yes, it is. So since this is correct, then this must be correct as well. Even if you rounded it to 11.4, then as long as you can see you're getting an answer that's pretty close to that, then I think it's safe to say you've got it right. And that's the end of the assessment.